There's no place like home. There's no place.
Home. Our house is a very, very, very fine house with 2 cats in the yard. Life used to be so hard. Now everything is easy 'cause of you.
Well, hi there, and welcome to Home Wizards, where we love to help improve your home and improve your life. I'm Cindy Dole.
I'm Eric Stromer.
And wow, if you love to garden, if you maybe just wish you could garden and just love beautiful things outside, we've seen some terrific things at the garden show.
And why is that, Cindy Dole?
Well, this is the biggest garden show in the world. It's the San Francisco Garden Show that's been going on for an entire week, and we felt it was important for us to kind of give you a self-guided tour.
And guess what? Listen to where we are.
Oh.
We're in San Francisco. Live, that's right.
Well, the garden show, I mean, when you walked in, what did you first just feel like? Did it just kind of take your breath away?
Well, here's what I thought was so amazing. When we first walked in, you see theatrical lighting dramatically accenting all of these displays that are right in the entryway when you walk into this garden show here in San Francisco. And that gives it a theatricality that you can achieve with great lighting, but it would cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to achieve that look. So it's amazing. But the good news is you do get the sense of what is possible, and that's what I love
completely.
about it.
Easy to do. Plants that cooperate and don't require a lot of TLC. But beyond the plants, and we're going to talk about some of the cool new and up-and-comers, but there were a lot of just beautiful things that really tap into your senses, like hardscapes, like sound, like water features.
Yeah,
right?
and also like biodynamic gardens and things that recycle and feed each other, the fish to the plants to the fertilizing.
Gosh.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, you almost took that tilapia out of that pond.
Like a grizzly bear, I ripped it out of there with my hand and almost ate it on a sandwich.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's a new trend, and as we're all about edible gardening, it's the next step where you basically are not only growing vegetables, but you're growing fish that you can eat. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But what I loved about the garden show, so many things. It really is packed with ideas and inspiration. And we have all the photos, by the way, on our Facebook page. If you go to facebook.com /Home Wizards, you'll see all the color and all the really cool things. I mean, there's so many things I love, but this one garden, and they basically have virtual cities of gardens that you walk through, right?
Yeah, that's the thing I love about it. It's participatory. It's like you're on a tour. You're walking through these great sets. It's almost like you're in a play with plants.
Or like in Disneyland.
Yeah, exactly.
You're in the different themed cities or rooms. And that's so important, too, because I know you're working on your garden.
Yeah.
You were saying how you want to, like a lot of landscapers, divide the area like it's a bunch of different rooms.
That's exactly right. It's kind of a great idea where instead of trying to honor one design theme in a huge piece of property or your backyard, why not break it down into a couple of different quadrants so that you have this different feel in different areas, and it almost becomes like a little walking tour. Mm-hmm. It's just beautiful.
Little destinations.
That's right.
And then no matter how small or how large it is, it almost makes you feel like it's even grander because, how cozy is it to have like a little place where you walk and sit, maybe have a cup of tea and a fountain. And
cup of tea and a raw fish. And it's a whole new meaning to koi's look out because people are going to start using them as sandwich meat.
And if you have very little space, you're going to feel really encouraged because we found some terrific solutions for people, for those of you who all you have is a balcony or all you have is maybe just a side yard, but that's not an excuse. There's some solutions.
I do love that new sort of small garden idea where you can create a great space, in an 8 square foot area on a wall. Like for example, if you're living in an apartment building or a small home, there's no reason not to honor design and great plant life and great hardscape when you have a small area.
So if you are thinking, because it is a springtime, this is our time to really be dreaming, as we're spending more time outside, as the temperatures get warmer, who doesn't want to just connect with the outside? So something that is an alternative in the garden are these grasses. And this is not just regular lawn grass, right? These are exotic ornamental grasses that are drought tolerant, meaning that they save water.
And they're also indigenous to our own area in Southern California, for example. They're native and they're really easy to grow. They require a little bit of water and they're just beautiful.
They're fluffy and they're spiking and when you think about it, there are thousands and thousands of grasses. I mean, these are the grasses that produce the cereal grains, right, that feed us and feed animals.
These are the grasses that emulate our hair color from the Rose Parade when all the float builders kept saying, well, you guys look like you'd have pampas grass for hair.
We're not pompous people, but we have pampas grass.
That's right.
Well, so we talked with this one guy, and he has been known to be one of the most famous landscape gardeners in the country. He's won all kinds of awards. I mean, his landscaping has been featured at the Getty Museum, at Disneyland, and any kind of a park where you've been, a botanical garden. I mean, his work has been there.
Right. Pretty much if you see any great landscaping that looks like it's indigenous and it just sort of showed up prehistorically, that's his stuff.
Exactly. When you say prehistoric, almost like it's a Jurassic Park.
Exactly.
But this is actually, he's very proud about this. He says, this isn't a jungle, even though I felt it was. Jungle in the good way. Jungle as in the exotic way, but not as in ornamental grasses taking over your yard. Okay, so let's listen to what John Greenlee explained in his little mini garden display at the garden show. He called it a gauzy experience, almost a taste of savanna, with all of these different types of ornamental grasses that you can put in your yard to really take you to another place and another part of the world. We are now surrounded by a jungle of grasses that are taller than you, Eric.
And this is the first thing that greeted us when we walked into this amazing show.
How tall are these grasses?
Well, they got to be 25, 30 feet tall.
And if you listen, we'll have to put our microphones over there, the sound of crickets. They have speakers to make you feel like you are in the jungle.
Exactly.
But with us is John Greenlee, who is really into... Oh, I can hear that too. There's more
No, that wasn't a monkey. That was you making the sound. Anyway, go ahead.
John Greenlee, you are a landscape extraordinaire. I've seen you speak many times. I know you're really into the whole drought-tolerant thing. And these are grasses that have so much texture and richness. So great to see you. And talk about grasses.
Well, thanks. And, you said jungle, but I prefer the word savanna. So this is tall grass environment, but as you say, a lot of what you see here in the exhibit is drought tolerant. So it's a lot of green for not a whole lot of water. And so this exhibit, actually this garden, is a garden that's been in my head for a couple of years. I just hadn't found a client to make it for, so I was like, you know what? I'm going to make it for me.
So describe the grasses and run through the list of names so we can get a visual.
Well, we've got some really wonderful grasses from the Okavango Delta in Botswana. This is Miscanthus yuncius, Okavango Delta grass. Neyroidia, a grass that my friend Paul Comstock collected in China, sitting on an elephant, reaching out over the tops of the flowers of the grass seed to collect the seed.
We know Paul Comstock. He's the Disney landscape guy.
Right. I worked with Disney creating Disney's Animal Kingdom in Florida. I can tell you sometimes it's more fun to make gardens for animals than it is for making gardens for people.
No, I can imagine. Client relations are challenging.
But carry on. Walk us through.
Well, we have ground cover grasses down below and plants that you'd find growing in association with these grasses, like the aloes and the puyas, the bromeliads. So we've thought about the colors and textures. You can see these blooming flowers are Furcreas and Bechenarias. They're lily family relatives that are from hot, dry climates. So we've got a lot of really fun things here.
So John, question: Can we as gardeners grow these grasses in Southern California?
You sure can, and all of these plants come from our nursery, Suncrest Nurseries in Watsonville, which delivers to any independent retail garden center in the state of California. So everything you see here is available in LA. You can go to any better independent retail garden center and ask for Suncrest plants.
And so how would we find someone that could advise us to create this landscape?
Well, you'd go to my website and you'd start by buying my book, The American Meadow Garden, on Timber Press.
Now, the thing is, you don't really have any flowers here. There might be some flowering plants, but I mean, in terms of the stereotypical flower, but yet
So, I mean, what I love about this, these are naturally occurring grasses. You can plant them in your garden right now, and they just end up looking beautiful, fluffy, and gauzy, as John says.
They really are fluffy, and I mean, it's kind of a great barrier. If you wanted privacy, why not have that, a green wall? And a couple important things to remember, though, that when you're getting these ornamental grasses, make sure you choose those that are not overly invasive, and yes, they have the non-invasive bamboo, as well as those that are fire safe. Well, coming up next, as we continue to take you on this journey through the best garden show in the country here in San Francisco. The sounds. Eric, did you love the sounds? It's called Soundscapes.
It's a stereo thing with 20 speakers that gives you the idea that you're right there in the jungle.
Crickets and birds, and it's gorgeous. So that and more to come here. Home Wizards, Eric Stromer, Cindy Doles. We love to improve your home and improve your life. We're back after this.
Oh, no, no.